Hey, what's going on, guys? It's EyeSeeU. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about this event, and then I think I'm just going to let some of the footage play, whatever I compile, just let the video speak for itself. I think I got some pretty decent footage of what was going on July 29th in Los Angeles, California at the Phase Warehouse. We had the Midnight Society Founders event, the first one, and it was an absolute blast. It was just extremely cool, in my opinion. I met up with a couple of you guys there, and it was what I expected it to be and some. The game looks badass. I'm about to download it right now. I'm just back here at my house and enjoy some of this footage for those of you guys that weren't able to attend the event. And I am already looking forward to going to the next Midnight Society Founders event for Snapshot 2. And I see you in the next vid. Enjoy the vid.
see shit.
Dude, this is like awesome to have this first look.
Cold. Super cold.
Crazy, bro. And I like how you have to like decode this back part. The language is on the right side. So they made their own fucking language.
This is a risk for them. All this shit that they're paying for to do. I mean, $50 ain't shit. Everyone that's in here paid $50. That ain't shit.
I did the math, dude. Say that you get all 50,000. That's free or whatever that they gave out to content creators.
Yeah.
That's like $300,000.
Yeah, but to print that print right there cost them $1. At least $1. Probably more unless they got the right printer.
Yeah. Yes, because
Hey everyone, welcome back. We're here, the game dev team. We're going to talk a little bit more about in-depth the game we're making. We can talk a little bit about mechanics. We can talk about the art style, all that stuff. We're going to talk about Snapshot, walk through it, step by step, what we delivered on, what was our vision, what we were thinking, all that kind of stuff, so that you can get a little bit more context for those of you that have already played it, and those of you who have yet to play it. So let's get into that a little bit, okay? So right here on the screen, this is the very first thing that you see when you load up Snapshot 1. You're riding in an elevator, there's some mystery, what's going on here, the elevator doors open, and boom, you're greeted to this. This is what we're calling our weapons bench room, all right? And so in here is the weapons bench, and this is something that, this can become lots of things. This is what we'd love to get feedback from you guys. But for us, the genesis of this is where you as a player can come and customize your weapon, or weapons, not just a single weapon, but your weapons. How many weapons do you have? All those kind of things. What kind of weapons? These are the things we also want to hear from you as well. But you as a player, you come in here and you tinker with things. You change different attachments, all sorts of stuff, right? Things that you'd expect. We're thinking of things like, hey, how do you display maybe your favorite weapon? All that kind of stuff. And so that's what this room was trying to evoke. It's like very simple. We want to at least lay the foundation for the weapons bench. And in this room as well, we've also got things like, there's a closed door over to the right. Well, what's that all about? There's a keypad, you can interact with it. It beeps at you, says access denied. There's things in there that we're trying to build towards. And that's what's exciting to us with this hideout and with this game in general, as we build it with all of you in mind, is things are going to evolve over time. There's going to be new areas to explore. Each snapshot will get into these things. So when it comes to this room and this weapon, one of the main features is this classified rifle. We don't really have a name for it yet, that'll come. So if anyone's got cool ideas, let us know. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about this. I want to kick it over to our art director, Darren Bacon, and he can tell us a little bit about this weapon, its identity, its looks, and all that.
Yeah, okay, so snapshot on just art direction in general, all up on the project. And so what we've been thinking about is it's like the high level idea is the future through the lens of the 80s and 90s in like an alternate timeline. And so what that allows us to do is like kind of pick the stuff that fits best with our genre and our society. And so also generally it's like the whole vibe, basically lives around that, and it's a world where Doc could be living in, but he'd be in the streets, and it's not like these big adventures. So that's generally the high level art style goals.
Yeah, totally. So that is another thing that's really exciting about this when we think about the art style and the visuals that you're seeing in here is, like Darren said, it's as if the 1980s or the 90s never really ended. Not the campy stuff, but like the stuff that we all, grew up liking. Like you think of like the Terminator movies and the Aliens and Escape from New York. Those are some of our inspirations of this kind of universe we're building here. And so that's why we love the X1 and that classified rifle, just how it looks. So with that, I mean, what about the environment in here? And I'd like to Greg over here. Greg Cox is our lead environment artist. Greg, tell us about just the environment and what we're trying to see here and accomplish.
Well, there's a couple of challenges with this because we're using Unreal 5, so we want to make sure that we're using the features of Unreal 5 to make our lives easier while still delivering a very good product. And to your point, when this is, when we first started looking at this space, we put together a lot of reference boards. So we started looking at a lot of the classic movies that we kind of like, old school John Carpenter kind of movies, Big Trouble in Little China, a little bit of Bloodsport in there, So we mixed some things in of, not for the sake of nostalgia. Like, we don't necessarily want to convey nostalgia. But the limitations that those films had at the time made those films great, and they look good, right? So we want to capture that a little bit. So we knew that for this first shot, it had to be important. Like it needed to grab your attention immediately. The player needs to see that rifle. The player needs to be drawn into that workbench. And so we began populating it out with some of the assets that we built from scratch. And then we also pulled in things from Megascans to kind of make life a little bit easier for us. And so we did a lot of set dressing, and we went through multiple iterations of lighting, kind of capture that mood for it a little bit and everything. And I think it did the job. I think it did a really good job of it. So yeah, we're all really, really proud of it. And I think that rifle just looks so damn good up there.
Nice. Okay. Let's move on to the next area. We'll talk a little bit about that. Yeah, so this is a little bit of that tease that we were telling you about. So this is a concept image of what that door to the right of the weapon bench could be. And so now we're looking at this like, okay, right now we're just calling it like the vault, right? Like, or the armory. What does the player want to put in there? What are the things that are interesting? Kind of gear, what kind of gear do you want to put in there? What kind of weaponry do you want to put in there? Things that you really like that you want to keep safe. Things that you want to use for the right moment, the right area in which you're going to go play in. So this is just an early concept tease of something that could or could not be coming. So, all right, let's go to the next one. Oh, okay. So, speaking of teases, speaking of feedback and teases, so this is another one in the variant guide. You'll see this as well. This is an image of another concept that is amazing about our garage, right? So we're calling it the garage, and we'll have more to talk about this at another time. As you look through the variant guide and take a look at this image, just soak it in. What are the ideas? What are the things that you like? What are the things that you think about this? Let us know, and we'll have some conversations about it. That's all I want to say about that.
Let me pose a little question. I don't want an answer now. I'm not saying it is or is not related to the garage, right? I just want to know, think about it. Get back to us. Hit us up on Discord or Twitter. We know we're in the player hideout. We know we're going to a tower. How do we get to that tower? What does that process look like? That's what I'd like you guys to think about. Mull over, right? How are we getting there? How are we choosing where in that tower we're starting? Oh, that's some interesting questions, huh? So I would just simmer on that. Look at your variant guide, soak in that artwork, and think, what's the best fucking raddest way we can get from the player hideout to the tower? Just let that soak for a minute. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
I love Big Rock comes in and he tells someone to hold his beer and he just like gets in after it.
I'm just asking questions.
Excellent. Okay, so this right here, this is what we're calling our interior range, right? The gun range is inside the hideout. And we have sorts of little mini games or firing range experiences. There's 3 to be exact. And this is where we want the player to be tested on different kinds of gunplay with this classified rifle that we had the experience. So, again, I love the visuals of this. This is all through Unreal Engine 5. We're super excited for it. You can look through this, you can see Theron's vision, you can see what Greg has done, and what Eric has done, and what Steve has done with his concept work. I mean, there's just so much effort poured in through the team on this that we just love to finally get it in your hands and check it out. But what I really want to talk about right now is the firing range experience. And I think the best person to talk about that is our director of gameplay today, which is Jim here in the end. So Jim, tell us all about these firing ranges and how it works.
It's Quinn. So I was watching people play over here, and I think this first firing range, pretty much everybody understood it right away. So let me kind of contrast this one and the second one. This first one is 1 target active at a time, and so we don't even put that on the, it's not even on the HUD. It's just 1 target pops up, you shoot it, the next target pops up, and the target's not moving much. They move they get out from behind them. One of those kind of barriers. So it's very simple. There's 10 targets and they pop up, and that's really relatively close range. You can see the end of the range very easily. Honestly, watching people play over here, I feel like maybe our learning curve was a little too steep on the second target range. A lot of people start in the second range, and it's way upstairs. That's not a great picture for it. But they start at the second target range, and it pops up and says, "Oh, there's 2 targets active," and people are like, "Where are they?" And then they go down the elevator, and they're kind of looking around for where are the targets. The truth is, the targets are like a lot farther away, and you really have to. There's a lot of fog and stuff, so to be honest, Quinn and Rob kept telling me and some of the other guys, this is not meant to be an easy game. It's like we're gonna lean into shadows on this game, so it should be hard to see your enemies and these targets. So it's totally fine. So people can play that again. I would say if you only had one chance to play it here. That's the second one. You want me to tell about the third one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that the really thing that's important to hear from you, Jim, is what is the 3 ranges and what is the skills we're trying to test for the players? Because that was something that you really did a good job of executing with your team on, the interior range, what's the goal there, the goal for the first exterior, and then the goal for the bottom range, and the surprises down there.
Yeah, the first one is really, the targets are very visible. There's only one choice at a time. So it's really about quick acquisition, target to target to target, and it's really just about very quickly moving from one target to the next. Whereas the second target range, they're farther off, so it's more about scanning the environment and seeing where the targets are, and they're a lot farther off, so it's much more challenging to actually get headshots. So that second firing range is much more difficult. I'm just saying, it might have been wise for us to have another one in between the two to kind of scale up to that. But anyway, you guys like hard games, I'm sure. So the third one we call our reaction trial, and the clock works differently there. You start the trial. This is down at the bottom. You take the elevator down, and there's a button to start the trial. And then you move through. We actually, Raz actually had a lot of arrows to kind of guide you through the environment. There's yellow kind of spray painted arrows to guide you through, and it's all about quick reactions. Those targets are relatively close when you're kind of moving forward, and you don't know exactly when they're going to pop up because you can't really see the trigger that's going to pop them up. Probably if you play it 10, 20 times, you'll know exactly where to trigger. But the idea is to test your quick reflexes and your reaction time. So you go through some 2 to 4 things pop up and you shoot them. So that's the third one.
Yeah, so this is something else that we really wanted with these targets to be there is like, hey, we have a weapon in the game. It's not going to be fun if we just have a space where you're just shooting the wall or the floor, messing around. What do we have in there? So you can actually look at what's the bullet drop, right? What's the projectile speed? Because every weapon in our game, we're going to have projectiles and speeds that are varying at different distances. So we want to see how does that feel, and that's why some of the targets move, some of them don't. And then we got really good fun stuff in there with the chaos system that Unreal provides, where you've got destruction on the target. So it's fun to just, we were earlier on in development, we had it so as soon as you hit a target, the target just like immediately goes down. Like, that's not very fun. Like, what do we do about that? It's like, well, why don't we have the target stay up for just a second so you can see, oh man, I blew a hole in the leg of that target. Oh, that person just got lobotomized. Their head's gone, right? Because they got destruction in there. And that made a bigger difference in just the overall fun. Even though you're not shooting other players, that'll come. But you're not shooting any other players right now, you're just shooting targets. And you're kind of learning the gunplay of what we're trying to go with Deadrop. And that's just a single weapon, and there'll be more to come as well. So that's the main reason why we got all these targets, these fire ranges, all that, so we can get feedback from you on the spread of the weapon, the recoil, the bullet, the projectile speeds, everything. So yeah, so that is out here in the exterior range. For me, the second one is a lot of fun because of the ranges and the heights. And again, that is a vertical extraction shooter. You're not just going to be shooting everyone that's on the same plane as you. You're going to have to be looking up, looking down. The height advantage is going to be a real deal in our game. So those are some of the exciting things about the exterior range as well. So, yeah.
I want to jump in a little bit on the
please.
One just quick comment is early on we had some discussions about whether we should use the Unreal 4 physics technology, which is called PhysX, or the Unreal 5 physics technology, which is called chaos physics. And we decided, we're leaning into UE5. So I think we set it up for all the targets, and I think that's pretty much all we did for starters. Is the wooden targets and the cyborg targets are all using chaos physics. But I think it looks great. It looks much better than the older destruction, and we can lean into that even more and bring some really amazing physics simulations. So I think we made a great choice.
Yeah, that's a really good point that I'd like to dive deep on a little bit, right? We've decided that we're fully embracing Unreal Engine 5 and all the bells and whistles that come with it, right? One of those things that Jim touches on is dynamic destructibility through chaos. Right now we're using it for the targets, right? If you ran through the range, you see those things get fucked up, right? They're coming apart. What we need to think about, again, something for us to discuss, is how much do we want to lean in on that in the environment? Do we want walls being fully destructible? Do we want cover points being destructible? Maybe not walls, maybe cover points, right? To what degree do we want that, right? Do we want there to always be low cover, but we destroy medium to high cover, right? This is the mindset that we all need to be getting into, because these are the discussions and the hard decisions that we need to make. Because I'll tell you right now, and a lot of you already know, I see you shaking your head. The moment, if we decide to go full destructibility on cover points, that changes the game in a big way. That changes how you choose to engage. That chooses how you choose to break contact. So it has big ripple effects, right? So we made a decision as a development team to embrace the chaos engine and destructibility. Our job as variants is to figure out to what degree. Where do we draw the line, right? That's what we need to be thinking about and talking about on Discord after this event, right? Because once we move into PvP, when we're fighting each other, whether in the sectors or in other areas, that's gonna play big, right? So one of the big things that I know is gonna be a discussion point in the next 6 weeks is like, all right, if we're starting to think about PvP, what does that map look like? What does that map look like when you spawn? What does that map look like 10 minutes into the session, right? So like, I feel like I'm giving people homework, but just think about it. Yeah, because we are all about setting the course, right? Setting the course on the tech we're going to use to achieve it and implementing it. The scope, the scale, the direction, all of that stuff is going to come from a collective. But I love Chaos so far. It adds so much to the range.
Thanks, Rob, for having that. That's a big deal. Like, we can't undersell much how much what Unreal Engine 5 does for us. So, okay. Moving on. We got some questions? Okay, let's do it.
Alright, well, first things first, I do have a Twitter question for you guys. Everyone's been loving the name. They think it's fantastic, but we've seen it more than a few times. Who came up with the name Deadrop?
Well, that was a very collaborative effort. It's a very, that's probably the safe way to say it, but I'll say, you know, Rob. It's a Rob call. Rob wanted to do it. He loved that name. And, but to be honest, the people that get in the room was myself, Rob, you know, Brian Nichols, and, you know, Doc. Doc was there. He's always providing us feedback. And we had lots of cool options, but we just kept coming back to Deadrop. And every time we came back to Deadrop, Rob would just be gloating on his camera the whole time.
I lose my fucking mind every time it came up. I'll tell you one thing, I definitely am the one who decided to spell it wrong. That was 100% me.
Well, we're spelling it our way now because that's the right way to spell it. So, yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. Alright, let us know who you are. I know you said you're involved in the Discord. Obviously, you're here in the whole outfit. What do you got for the dev team?
Yeah, my name is Alex, as you know, on Discord, aka the Flight 8 variant. Question about the variants, because I see that each variant almost has like a different perk. How is that going to play into the game? Like, let's say run a specific level. I don't know if this is going to be the case. Let's say I'm really good with long range combat. Will that play into how our team is going to get to the next stage? If it's stage-based where we start from here, we conquer this area, boom, we go on to the next level, like how are the variants going to play with proceeding in the levels as it goes through?
Yeah, so I've got thoughts about that for sure, but does anyone else have any thoughts or ideas about that? No? Okay, just making sure everyone has an opportunity. Well, I know Rob said something. He'll always say something. So,
I'm sitting back here, leave me alone.
So the variants, all of you are super important to us, and that is something that we'd like to have an open dialogue on. Like, how does that work? Because each one of you have your own variant, you have your own attributes and categories to your point. How do we have that manifest itself in the game? And that's something that we're interested in. But right now we're focused on the core foundation of the game, what it's like for people, the majority of the people that are going to play this game, because the majority of people are not in this exclusive, amazing club of variants. So what we're trying to do is make sure that the variants are able to stand out, or peacock, right? You have that badge of honor, that day zero community that you're here. So when you're in a server, people are like, whoa, check that out. There's a variant right there. So, but as far as the gameplay goes, that's something that we're going to have to work out together as a crew and see what we want to accomplish.
I think I have a couple of thoughts about that too, if you don't mind. Okay, so from on the couch. I think the thing with the variants and like the specific stats that are on there and stuff, that's something we had to create before we had the opportunity to know who you guys were. So if you think about it, like the variants were created before people controlled them, right? So the challenge there is that we didn't really want to commit exactly in a gameplay sense to what's on there, because we had to kind of design those, make those decisions before you guys had a chance to even participate, if that makes sense. So I think everything that is in there is a great starting point for like inspiration or things that we might want to add, so I think what Quinn's talking about, but nothing that we wanted to decide before people had an opportunity to participate.
We're whispering, but we'll be with you in a moment.
Yeah, so vertical extraction shooter, like what exactly is that going to do? Because for me, this is new. I haven't played any games that's Ripley based, so like. Sorry, that's no good. What's that gonna look like? What do you expect?
Give us a taste!
Okay. All right. Again, just making sure we're all good. We have a voice up here. Okay. So, what's that going to look like? Well, you see on the screen right now, that is the exterior, right? And the main reason we wanted this tower there is we wanted that inspiration. That is the goal. That's where we want to get to. That right there is the place that largely people are going to be playing in Deadrop. That's where you're going to be going on your runs, okay? That's where you're going to be dropping. That's where you're going to be trying to escape with your life and your things. So what's that look like? We're not going to, we don't want to release or talk about everything that's going on there, because right now we're so focused on Snapshot 1 and what that is. But just to give you a little bit of taste, that's a lot of building. And there's a lot of things in there. So internally, we've already had really fun, interesting conversations about what each area of that building, what that tower is going to look like, from visual thematics, right, to even gameplay. Like, you know, we're even calling them like sectors, right? So not just floors, but like a sector. And this building is going to have multiple sectors inside, and each sector is huge. And each sector is going to have different themes in it. You know, like, hey, is this one like a hospital? Okay, cool. Is this like a whole medical area? Is this a storage area? Where's the sector that is exterior based? So we get a little bit of that cool weather that you see in Snapshot 1 with the rain. So that's just a little bit of the tease. We'll get more into that. And we have big, high hopes and goals for what the tower gameplay is like. But rest assured, it's going to be crazy and awesome.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Take his beer away.
I got a quick question.
Turn his mic off.
Hey, how many people here completed the ARG? Yeah, we did. A decent amount, right? And like the ARG, we call it the CC protocol, which was the Claws Combat Protocol, right? It was a training ground, a simulator to figure out how our variants would think, how they sort of approach this concept of sector-to-sector gameplay, choosing between engaging and extracting, right? That ARG laid a lot of philosophical foundation for how we think about the tower, how it's constructed. Because I think philosophically, and by all means chime in, correct me if I'm wrong and you want to elaborate, I know what we love based on our collective experiences of different franchises is we love like arena map design, right? What we love about that is we love being able to learn a map, master an area, learn sight lines and cover points, the best place to post up, right? But we really enjoy the larger scale of battle royales. But there's some downsides to that, right? And I think what we were looking at with this vertical design was how can we get the sort of map design we love, but with the player counts and scales that we love without the benefits of the other side, right? Then sprinkle in a little of that persistent session-to-session gameplay that you get from extraction shooters, and you got something there, right? And I think that is what has led the foundation for where we're going. But the thing is, we're not just gonna drop that on you, right? We're gonna build towards that, and at any point, when we play it, that could change based on the sentiment, right? We could be moving in that direction full speed ahead, and we're just not feeling it as a group, right? As a collective. And then we augment, we change, we iterate. But the starting point is really looking at how do we capture that arena map design style, scope and scale, verticality and every sort of element to it, and build towards that in a really interesting way. Well, let's do it one building block at a time.
Okay, so I think that about does it for us in this session right here. I want to say, thank you everyone here. We got lots of talented game developers working on this game, and we also have Rob. So by all means, come and reach out, talk to all of us. I like to razz Rob, I love him. But so for that, this time we'll kick it over to Katie.
Thank you, and everyone, thank you for an incredible turnout. We're winding toward the end of the evening, but as we release you, go mingle, grab a drink. Make sure if you haven't, there's a photo booth over here in the corner. Get your pictures, get everything you need, and make sure if you haven't already, get your variant guide. I already got to read through mine. It is incredible. You won't want to miss